the main thing that I would like to do today is I would like to look at upgrading our current mana situation. Right now, we do have quite a bit of mana available in our mana pools. We have 4 full mana pools in the center of this island here. However, we're not actually getting mana all that quickly. The only reason we have so much is that currently we're not actually using it for anything, right? We only ever use it in small batches, for example, when we want some sand, or maybe when we want to duplicate some coal or redstone. We don't actively use it for anything. Now, before we do get into Britannia chat, there is one other thing that I would like to do at the start of today's stream, and that is something that I said I was going to do in the last stream, and that is craft up a drive cage from Applied Energistics, because I would very much so like to get all of the kind of junk in all of these iron chests here into our Applied Energistics system, so we don't have to keep coming over and checking all 4 of these chests whenever we want to find anything. And so this guy really isn't too difficult to make on its own. It does require 4 iron ingots, 2 engineers processors, and then 2 ME glass cable. And I guess we might as well, chat, also go ahead and put down our Inscriber somewhere over here as well, using the same method. For example, if we just go ahead and throw him down, maybe like right about here. And I guess while we're at it, we should probably put the charger down as well, which I think as of right now is kind of hanging around in one of these chests. It is, yeah, we might as well also throw it down next to the Inscriber and then just hook it up with energy conduits so we don't have to keep moving it from place to place whenever we actually want to get, you know, charged soda quartz or processors. Nice. So if we're going to make the drive cage, we do have to get 2 diamonds and start off at least by making ourselves 2 of the old engineering circuits. We're also going to need some more silicon, of course, which thankfully we do have, as well as some more redstone. That seems easy enough. Do we have any spare ME cable? I think the answer is probably no. We used a good chunk of our ME cable in the last stream to hook up that ME terminal to our storage drawers. We do have 2 left, actually, which is the perfect amount to make the drive cage, which is very fortunate, actually. So silicon, engineering circuit, and redstone. That should get us our first processor, and we only need 2, and at that point we are pretty much good to go. Now, we do, of course, also have to get ourselves a couple of storage cells, which come in the 1K, 4K, 16K, and 32K variants. Now, I think we should be able to make a couple of 1K cells fairly easily. However, we do need to get more soda quartz, which really shouldn't be an issue. We can pop through to the nether real quick and grab some. We don't really need too much, maybe like a half stack, if we can wrangle it. We could also, at some point fairly soon, chat, look at getting the end version or the nether version of the orchid as well. That being this guy right here, the orchid ignum, which does allow you to produce nether ores. In our case, those being nether quartz, soda quartz, silver, charged nether quartz, aluminum, ardite, cobalt, nickel, and uranium. All right, so a little bit of soda quartz mining later. We do now have a lot of nether brick thanks to our auto smelt pickaxe. Speaking of which, we should probably go ahead and quickly go ahead and repair that. Good stuff. So let us see here. First things first, I believe we do now have everything to make the drive cage. We do indeed. And despite not looking great, I think for now I am going to put it like right here. Eventually we'll move it once we get more drive cages to kind of its own location. We'll have a room or a place with multiple drive cages. For now, I'm going to put it down like right about there. And let's see if we can't craft up a couple of 1K storage cells. So if we're going to do that, we are going to need a couple of logic processors, which thankfully shouldn't really be too difficult. I think I'll try and get 4. That's going to give us 4,000 bytes worth of storage and also 256 types as well, which I think is going to be the important part for us here. So unlike a mod like Refined Storage, Applied Energistics splits items into bytes and types. So each cell can only have 63 different types, and types just mean items. So you can only have 63 different items in any given cell. And as you'll see here, we do have quite a lot of different items. The bigger cells, like the 4K cell, the 16K cell, and the 64K cell, are very good for large amounts of an item. Like if we had, 5,000 iron, we might want to look at getting a bigger cell. But if we have a lot of items in small quantities, which is what we have, we definitely want to look at getting multiple 1k cells, because we're going to very quickly fill up that type limit before we fill up the byte limit, if that makes sense. We do definitely, chat, need to look at getting the advanced Inscriber. And honestly, it's not that difficult to make. We could probably make that like right now. And you know what? Sure, let's do it. So the regular Inscriber here that we have, it does work, but it is rather tedious. The advanced Inscriber really isn't too difficult to make. 4 iron, 2 hoppers, 1 Inscriber, and then 2 engineering processes. So let's once again throw it in our engineering press, and then 2 more diamonds. All right. So once we have both of those, chat, we should then be able to basically fairly easily craft up that advanced Inscriber. Ideally, you don't break your window when you do it. But there we go. Nice. So this guy has the added benefit of allowing you to do multiple items at once. So if we put in, for example, the silicon press, before you can only put 1 silicon in at a time, whereas now I can drop all 26 in here, go away, do my laundry, come back, and when we get back, we're going to have 26 silicon. I can't help but notice that this does not seem to work. Do I have to connect this up, chat, via ME cable? I do. Okay. So whereas the previous Inscriber could run on redstone flux, this one runs on the AE2 power units, which means it does have to be connected to your AE2 system, which is fine. That's not going to be a huge deal, I don't think. But it does mean getting stuff like this is a lot easier, and it means I can do this, this, and this, and that's going to make us the 4 engineering circuits there without me having to sit there and micromanage it through it, which is very nice indeed. At which point, 1k storage cell. What are we missing here? We do need some quartz glass. How much do we currently have? I believe if we have any, it's going to be in one of these drawers here. Yeah, we have exactly 1 quartz glass. Thankfully, I did start smelting up some glass between streams, and so we should have a fair amount of it lying around in here. We do indeed. And we did also previously, chat, start smelting up, or start sag milling up, I guess, some nether quartz dust. And so getting more of the old quartz glass here really shouldn't be too difficult for us. And it's not like we really need that much either for the drives here. 9 should be more than enough to get 4 1k drives. And so let's go and make 4 of these 1k ME storage components. And once we have 4 of those, we should then be able to fairly easily upgrade that to 4 1k drives. Nice. And we'll throw all of those in there like so. At which point, we should then be able to start dumping all of our items into the terminal. One thing I will do before I do that, chat, is I'm going to go and set the priority on the storage bus to 1. So essentially, you just click the little wrench and then you can set the priority. Basically, what I'm doing there is I'm telling the AE2 system to try and put things into the storage drawers before it puts things into the drive cage. I'll also do the same thing over here where I'll set this to priority -1. So essentially, if I were to, for example, try and put some iron into the crafting terminal, it's going to try and put that iron into the storage drawer controller, and therefore into its respective drawer, before it tries putting it in into the drive cage, which is exactly what we want, right? We don't want these drives here getting full up on iron when we have a perfectly good space for iron over in the storage drawer. So now we basically just have to move all of our trash over and into the system. And there is some stuff like these chest plates and whatnot that we don't really need to be storing. I'm going to put them in because if we have the space, then why not? But if we do run out of space here, I think those will be the first things that I start pulling back on. And there we go. All right. So all of our iron chests are now in here. And you can see we have almost filled up 3 1k drives here on types, which is good. It means we've got an extra cell there for bytes or for types, even if we do need it. So yeah, that seems good. Cool. Now that that is taken care of, chat, let's pivot over to Britannia, right? To trying to generate more mana. So there are a couple of different flowers. And actually, do we have a Lexica Britannia? We do indeed. I believe we can, even if we wanted to, chat, upgrade this Lexica Britannia by giving it some Elven knowledge. Yeah, look at that. It's now a gold Lexica Britannia. Perfect. So if we look in here and we skip through the old introduction, there is a section on generating flora, which lists all of the flowers that can produce mana. So right now we're using the endo flames, which of course use fuel. We're using wood to produce mana. There are a few other options in here. Notable ones that we could use are the munch dew, which allows you to turn leaves into mana. Like, ideally it's trees, but we do have a good amount of leaves lying around. I did test this, and it does work and can produce quite a large amount of mana. However, if you want it to work, you have to be like constantly feeding it leaves, and the amount of leaves that it requires would require just so many bonsai pots. Like, if we wanted to get that to work and produce a constant supply of mana, we would need significantly more bonsai pots than we currently have to get just a ludicrous number of leaves. It is possible, and we might look at doing that at some point in the future, but I think for us, for now, the flower that makes a bit more sense is the Gomulus Flower, this guy right here. And it's a hungry flower. It licked up any food in a small area around it and turned it into mana. There's a catch, though. It can only digest a single food at any given time. The mana is created when it's done. Any other food it finds, it'll also devour but not create mana from it. The amount of time it takes to digest a delicacy depends on its nutritional value. In layman's terms, the amount of food points it restores. Hello, my friend. Get out of here. So essentially, like it says here, a steak will take 4 seconds to digest, an apple will take 2, a loaf of bread will take 2, and so on and so forth. So if we look at an apple here, you can see on the right, it's got 2 chicken legs worth of hunger. That's how long it's going to take the flower to consume it. Note that feeding the Gomulus the same type of food multiple times in a row will result in the subsequent producing less mana. So we do have to feed it food, and depending on what food you feed it, depends on how long it will quote-unquote eat that food and produce mana. There is also a negative penalty for feeding it the same food over and over and over again. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to make the flower, put it down, and then drop just apples onto it over and over and over again. You could do that, but you'd start producing less and less mana every time, to the point where I think eventually you would just be producing basically 0 mana all the way down. Now, thankfully, there's a fix for that, and the fix is just to alternate the food that you feed the flower. And I think in our case, chat, we're probably going to alternate between apples, and then the second option, I think we're going to go with chorus fruit, which we do have, and we can put in its own bonsai pot. You can also, if you want, use mineral berries, which I think we also do have lying around somewhere. We do, because both of these do have the same 2 chicken legs worth of hunger that they refill, so they're basically the same as far as the Gorillamus is concerned. The only reason that I think we're going to go with the chorus fruit over the mineral berries is the fact that the chorus fruit has a higher drop chance from its bonsai pot. It has a 75% chance as opposed to, and that does take 5 minutes. Actually didn't take the growth time into consideration. That takes 5 minutes and 75% chance, whereas the mineral berries, ooh, maybe we'll go with the mineral sapling. This one has a 20% chance, but it only takes 30 seconds to grow the sapling, which is significantly faster. So maybe mineral berries and apples are going to be a better choice here. Yeah, the wormwood takes 1 minute 30. Okay, yeah, I think we're definitely going to do that. I think the chorus fruit is way too slow. I was going to go with it because it had a higher drop chance, but I think that higher drop chance is somewhat like just null and void by the long growth time there. Either way, chat, to start with here, we of course have to make some of the Gomulus flowers. So thankfully, these are really not too difficult to make. They require a rune of the summer, a rune of fire, 2 light gray, 2 yellow, and 1 mystical red petal. I did get all of the petals ready to go, so I know we have them ahead of time here. And I did also, chat, go ahead and make a few runes. Specifically, I made some more runes of terror and runes of air as well. So we have 2 of those down here. Those runes come in place for the rune of the summer, which is made with the rune of earth, the rune of air, 2 sand, 1 slime ball, and 1 melon. So thankfully we do have, I believe, 4 melon left. We do indeed, so we'll take that. We'll also go ahead and make some sand outside when we go. As for slime, we can do that with cactus. And the good news is, as I mentioned before, when you make runes on the runic altar, any runes used in the making of the rune are not used. So we can use the 2 runes that we have here over and over and over again to make all 4 of the runes of summer. The hardest part, I think, about the flower here is going to be the rune of fire, which we can do. It does mean that we are going to have to go and get some more dragon's breath, though. But that really shouldn't be too difficult for us, I don't think. We could also, and should also, at some point, look at getting like a bit of a netherwort farm going on. Probably in a garden cloche to allow us to start growing netherwort, because that's really all that's stopping us from using this original recipe here. We can make netherwort with blaze rods, but that seems like a rather expensive trade. Although given that we only need 2 of them, I might do that. Either way, for now, let's grab some cobblestone to turn into sand. Let's go ahead and also turn these into slime. Perfect. And then at that point, we can do 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and the melon. And basically, we just have to do this 4 times. I believe I do have some living rock lying around. I did go ahead and make quite a bit of living wood as well between streams so that we are ready to go on that front. All right, so that is 4 Runes of Summer. Like I said, I think, given that we have 6 blaze rods here, I think I will, and given that we only need 4 Runes of Fire, I think I will make the trade here and turn those into netherwart, because at that point we can get the fire runes significantly quicker. At that point we just need, I guess, 2 nether brick, as well as some mana powder, some mana steel, which I don't think we have, so in that case it's just 2 iron ingots that we can turn into mana steel, and I think that's basically it, right? What else am I missing here? Oh, gunpowder, of course. And the gunpowder we're getting from flint? Yes. All right. So I think, chat, that is basically everything. We have the Runes of Fire. We have the Runes of Summer. Let me go ahead and bookmark the Gomulus here. We also need, yeah, at that point, just petals and, of course, seeds to actually make those petals. So let's go ahead and grab 4 seeds. I'm going to use these industrial hemp seeds because we have quite a lot of them. And we're also going to need, of course, our Rod of the Seas, which I believe is in our shulker box, which I think I accidentally put into the system when I was dumping all of my stuff. So let's see, Rod of the Seas. Did I also put my mana tablet away? I did not. Good stuff. Okay, so one of you, I think it's 2 yellow, and then 1 red and 2 light gray. It is indeed. Okay, perfect. At that point, we can then right-click or drop in the seed, and we're good. And so from there forward, what we should be able to do is just right-click, double right-click, drop, right-click, right-click, drop, right-click, right-click, drop, and then we go, chat. We have 4 food-eating flowers. Nice. So now we need to actually set up an area for these to work in. And I think that I'm going to do a little bit of terraforming here, chat, because I kind of think I want to put them behind the portal here. I also think that I do very much so want to speed up work on tearing down this tower, because it's kind of getting in the way of my base expansion. But yeah, I think I'm going to clear out. And also, let me get a bucket real quick so I can move some of that mana. All right. Sure. So like I said, I think I do want, chat, to upgrade my Gomulus flowers into floating Gomulus flowers, which, as we've seen previously, really shouldn't be too hard for us to do. We do need some glowstone if we're going to make that happen, but we do have 46 glowstone now, so all we have to do is make a floating version of any other flower. We do thankfully now have the rod. First of all, I should have my Rod of the Skies on me at all times, and second of all, we should dump some things in our inventory here, and third of all, we do now have the Rod of the Land, and so we can go ahead and get dirt nice and easily. I should also probably grab my my mattock. And we should probably also look at upgrading our mattock as well at some point so we can pick up dirt a little bit faster. For now, though, what are we missing in terms of this? The pasture seed is just grass in the old mana pool, which we do have, and we'll go ahead and get 4 of those. Good stuff. And then all we're missing now is the actual Glimmering Flower itself. So let me see how many, like, what flower do we have the most of? I guess we'll do a mix here. We'll do like 2 green and 2 red. Good stuff. At that point, we can then go and do something like this. Grab 2 floating red flowers, as well as 2 floating green flowers, or lime flowers even. And then if we craft those up with our Gomuluses, we get floating Gomulus flowers. Nice. So these are going to go down, chat, over where I've placed down the end stone here. Again, you do want to make sure that you leave a little bit of space between each one, because I believe they consume food in like this area around them. So the 1 block radius around them, or the 3x3 block area around them, is where they will consume food from. So if you're going to drop food, you need to make sure it's dropped there. And if you're going to have multiple near each other, you need to make sure they're placed far enough away from each other so that they don't eat each other's food. So I think what I'm going to do here, chat, is we're going to use we're going to use a similar setup to what we have here with the hopper and the open crates with a little bit of redstone behind them. So first things first, how many chests do we have? The answer is not many. So let me make 1, 2, 3, 4 chests. And then let's also go ahead and turn those into 4 hoppers. Perfect. At that point, we're also going to make some open crates. Again, I would like 4 of those. Oh, no, we need 8 of those. Because we're going to be dropping 8 different lots of food. There we go. And that does make me realize as well that we do also need 4 more hoppers. There we go. So the idea here is that we're going to have, chat, essentially 2 open crates next to each Gomulus Flower, like this. We're then going to have a hopper pumping into both of these, and I think we'll do it like this and like this. And then I'll probably go with storage drawers on top there to hold the item. So, actually, I think I do want to spread these out a little bit more because otherwise the redstone signal here is going to be interfered with. Yeah, okay. So let me move this over by 1 actually, like that, and I'm going to move these over as well. Something a little bit like this. So we have all of our open crates with all of our hoppers above them. I'm then going to go ahead, chat, and make 8 storage drawers, 1 for each item. Someone asks why 2 crates per drawer? Because each flower, or why 2 crates per flower? Each flower requires 2. Oh, and of course we can't. I keep wondering why we can't make these. It's because you can't use wormwood logs to make the regular planks. That is fine. We'll make the other versions here. We'll need 8 of these. That's because each flower needs 2 resources. Each flower needs 2 lots of food. So we're going to have apples, mineral, apples, mineral, apples, mineral, apples, mineral, dropping down onto the Gomulus flowers here. And then along those lines, let's do one of these to allow that to actually work. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nice. So much like with our previous setups, we are going to have to get some redstone torches, some redstone, and an actual way to trigger the redstone. And I think in keeping with the Britannia that we have going on, it makes sense for us to use the Hourglass here, which is basically a timer added by Britannia. And if we're going to make this work, we are going to need 8 of these, which means 8 mana steel, as well as 8 mana glass, which, as you may be able to guess, is made fairly easily by just dropping glass into the mana pool. There we go. At that point, chat, we're going to do something like this. And again, we're going to have a similar setup to what we had before, where we have redstone torches on the back here. That's going to stop the hopper from dropping an item. What we can then do is we can then put down 1 redstone behind each one, and then 1 hourglass behind that. So we're going to use the hourglasses as timers to emit a redstone signal every X number of seconds to drop a certain item down. And we're going to use those to automate the dropping, or the alternate dropping, of the apples and the mineral chunks. So I don't know if we actually have that many mineral chunks right now. We do also, chat, have to get a mana pool and some mana spreaders. So one thing we can do that we've yet to do up until now is we can actually upgrade our mana spreaders to Elven mana spreaders. These are quite a bit better than the regular mana spreaders. They can move mana faster. And to make them, we need Dreamwood, Elementium, and then light gray or any kind of petal will work. So Elementium we've made before. It is mana steel in the old portal. Dreamwood is actually also fairly easy to make. It is living wood in the portal there. So I think we're going to want to make at least 4 of these. Good stuff. We can then also grab, of course, some more iron. Now, if we're going to get 4 of these, that means that we need 8 mana steel. So it takes 2 mana steel to make 1 elementium. Perfect. And at that point, chat, we should have everything that it takes to hopefully make ourselves 4 Elven spreaders. And I'm going to specifically use a petal that I know we have enough of. We don't want to be running out of any one color of petal, if we can avoid it. And whilst I'm here, actually, we might as well also go ahead and make that new mana pool. Perfect. So for now, we'll put this on the ground, although I think in the future we might end up moving this up into the sky somewhere because we want it to be close to the orchid endium, or at least close enough to the orchid endium. But essentially, I think we'll do something like this. The reason I'm putting them on the side here is I want them to be as close as possible to the mana pool, because the closer they are, the faster they can move the mana in there. And then if we link all of those up, like so, that should, in theory, work. Now, this is where things get a little bit janky. Alright, so once again, this is Isaac from the future talking. I was just editing the video, and Isaac of the past is indeed correct that this is where the stream kind of got a little bit janky, because up until this point, I had not run the numbers on how many bonsai pots we were going to need to feed 4 Gomulus flowers with mineral berries and with apples. And after crunching the numbers with chat, it turns out that if we were to feed all 4 of the flowers optimally, we would need about 80 bonsai pots, 80 hopping bonsai pots to be more specific. And because each hopping bonsai pot requires 4 bricks and 4 iron, that meant 400 iron ingots and 400 bricks as well. So at this point in the stream, we decided to scale things back just a little bit and instead go with just 2 Gomulus flowers as opposed to 4. And we also spent most of the remainder of the stream mining for iron and turning clay into bricks. We did the clay into bricks using the smeltery over here. I made an ingot cast, which you can make by pouring molten gold over an ingot of any kind. And at that point, you can just put your clay directly into the smeltery and it will get pulled out and turned into bricks, which is a lot easier than trying to run hundreds of clay through vanilla Minecraft furnaces. And so essentially, this is what we now have. I've done a bit of work between the stream and now to try and organize things a little bit and try and make it look a little bit nicer. But we have 40 bonsai pots, 40 hopping bonsai pots, and 40 framed storage drawers that can hold 4 items. 25 of these are for mineral saplings, and those are going to make mineral chunks, mineral logs, mineral leaves, and mineral berries. The mineral berries are really what we're after, but we're going to take the other resources as well. And then the last 15 here are for apples. So the idea here, chat, is that we're going to put grass into every single one of these bonsai pots here, and those are going to then grow the mineral saplings that are then going to deposit their wares into this bottom drawer here. Quick note on the way that the bonsai pots work. You may notice that the mineral saplings produce more than 4 items. If we look here, you can see that they actually produce 6 items, and that we don't have space for sticks or mineral saplings. But thankfully, due to the way that the hopping bonsai pots work, they will store all of the sticks and saplings internally, and then once they reach the maximum that they can store internally, which I think is about a stack, they will then just start deleting any excess that is produced, and so we can reliably continually get all of these resources, and the bonsai pot will just get rid of all the extras that we're not interested in. The reason why we've chose to keep these 4 is because the wood can be used later on down the line with endo flames to potentially produce even more mana. The leaves can be used later on down the line with the munch juice to produce even more mana. And then the mineral chunks are just used in general for integrated dynamics and could be used for making, more setups like this, more redstone writers and all that kind of jazz later on down the line. But back to the mineral berries, those are going to grow. They're going to be deposited in here. We're then going to have item conduits, which are fairly easy to make. They're made with conduit binder and pulsating iron nuggets. Pulsating iron is an alloy you make in the alloy smelter with an iron ingot and an ender pearl, both of which we have relatively easy access to. We've got quite a lot of ender pearls, but we're a little light on iron after spending 200 iron on hopping bonsai pots. But essentially, we're going to pump out of the bottom of these around and into the respective drawers. So we do have the drawers locked up here to mineral berries and apples. Now, before I start putting down all of the item conduits, let's first tackle the issue of grass, which really shouldn't be much of an issue for us. So now that we have the rod of the lands, we can make dirt very easily, right? We can just throw down dirt fairly quickly. We've got a ton of mana in our mana tablet, and even if we somehow manage to burn through all of the mana in our mana tablet, we also have the 4 mana pools worth of mana over there. So getting the 25 grass for the bonsai pots there really shouldn't be too difficult for us. All we have to do is grab 1 regular Minecraft grass, which thankfully we do have, run that through the old mana pool to create a pasture seed, and then, of course, if we go and right-click over on the dirt, that will create the grass that will then start to slowly but surely spread. We do want to, of course, make sure that we have light down over here so we can spread it even more. And then if we grab the old watering can, we can do the same thing that we did earlier in the series and basically just spread that grass all across here. And I've definitely put down a lot more than 25 dirt here. That is fine. Once we have more than 25 dirt, we can then go ahead and grab our trowel, which I believe is currently in the old system here. It is indeed. And this, of course, just like before, is going to allow us to pick up all the grass here in block form, which we can then put into the bonsai pots. And then once all of those are full, we can do the exact same thing, of course, but this time with endstone for the wormwood saplings that we're going to use to generate apples. And we can also, while we're at it, take these wormwood saplings and drop them into the mana pool with the alchemy catalyst to actually get all of the mineral saplings required to fill all of the other bonsai pots as well. So if we go and actually grab some endstone, Isaac, we can then fill all of these in. And then again, much like with the mineral berries, we do want to specify which items we actually want to keep. And I think this time around, we're probably going to avoid the extra saplings. We'll keep the logs, the sticks, the apples, and the leaves, basically for the same reasons as before. The apples can be used with the Gomulus flowers, the sticks and the logs can be used as fuel for more endo flames, and the leaves can be used with the munchyu later on down the line. So let me go ahead and quickly lock all of these drawers to that. And once all of the drawers are locked, we can then go ahead and begin actually putting in all of the saplings here, at which point all we should really have to do is hook up each one of the drawers with an item conduit. And we are definitely going to need more than the 47 item conduits that we have, because we need at least 40 for each of the storage drawers here, and then we of course need extra to actually get over to the drawers above the Gomulus flowers. So I do believe that at the end of the stream I actually left quite a lot of iron and ender pearls over in here. We did, so we got 12 of these pulsating iron ingots ready to go, and we might even have some conduit binder left as well. We do not. However, I think I might have left a little bit cooking in here. We did. Nice. So we'll grab that, and hopefully that will get us enough item conduits to run all of the items over. For now, we will go with maybe like a stack and a half, and we'll see if that's enough. If not, we can always come back and grab more in the future. And so essentially, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to run all of the cables along like this. The way the item conduits work is you can right-click on this kind of black connector here, and you can set whether or not you want it to insert or extract. All of these are going to be set to insert. And because the drawers here are locked to either apples or mineral berries, nothing but apples or mineral berries will make their way in. And the item conduits are quite smart in that regard. They won't try and, pull out logs or leaves or mineral chunks if there's no end location for them. So we can quite safely set all of the item conduits under here to extract, and then you want to click this button here to set it to always active. So that means it's going to work even without a redstone signal. And then if we were to go ahead and hook that up to the main item conduit line over here, and I think we'll probably do that underground just to make this look a little bit nicer. I do think in the future I'm probably going to replace like all of the end stone on the floor here with more grass and try and expand this out just a little bit. But if we were to go ahead and basically run this over, what we should see is the 6 mineral berries in this leftmost storage drawer be extracted and sent around over and into one of the 2 mineral drawers over here. And I believe what we can do as well, and they have been extracted, but what we can do as well is we can also set them to round robin enabled, which means that it will alternate between sending them here and here. So hopefully we get approximately the same number of mineral berries in each storage drawer going forward. Now, we could, if we wanted to, do this manually. Like I could put down 40 conduits, and then we could go into every single one and click always active and round robin. However, there is an item called the Conduit Probe from Ender.io, which allows us to copy and paste the settings of a conduit over and over and over again. It is a little pricey here. It does require some electrical steel in the making of the Yeta wrench, but I think it's definitely going to be worth it, and it's definitely going to save us time, not only now, but going forward as well when we set up more things with item conduits, fluid conduits, and other conduits. So I think really the only thing we're missing are the electrical steel ingots, which are made with iron, pulverized coal, and silicon. all of which we should have, I think. How much iron do we have left? We have basically 0 iron, but we do have 31 iron dust, so I will go and throw that into the old furnaces over here and get that cooking down. And for electrical steel later, we should now be able to go ahead and craft one of those down into steel nuggets. That's going to allow us to craft up the Yeta wrench, which does also require apparently a wooden gear, but that is very doable. Wooden gear into stone gear into a Yeta wrench. There we go. And then at that point, we can then craft that up into the old Conduit Probe. And out here, whilst I was waiting for the very slow alloy smelter to make that electrical steel, I have gone ahead and put down all of the item conduits. So what we can do, you'll see there are 2 options in the bottom right. There is kind of this default conduit mode and then this copy and paste mode. I believe we want to be in the copy and paste mode. So this one is currently set up correctly. Extract, always active, and then round robin. So if we, I think, shift right click on this and then right click here, you'll see it said there pasted conduit settings. So now this one is also set to extract, round robin, and always active. Again, just to show you, this one is not set to that by default. If we right click, the conduit settings have been pasted, and now it's good to go. So now what we should have to do is basically just right click this on every single one of our drawers here, and that should begin moving all of the mineral chunks and all of the apples over, all of the mineral berries even, and all of the apples over to the correct storage drawer. All right, so all of those are now done, and we should see a good number of apples and mineral saplings making their way in there. We do, nice. Okay, so back to the Gomulus flowers, the thing that started it all off. The way they work, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, is they will take the food and then they will eat the food for however long in seconds the food gives in hunger, if that makes sense. So again, if we look at these guys, each of these give 2 chicken legs worth of hunger, and so the Gomulus flower will take 2 seconds to eat them. If you try and give it any other food in that 2 seconds, it will just delete the food. It will take it, you won't get any mana for it, and it'll be a waste of time. So what we want to do is we want to drop, for example, a mineral berry, wait 2 seconds, then drop an apple. Now, because we're playing on a server, and because we're using a kind of timer that's not super accurate, like you can't type in and pinpoint the exact timing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it drop a mineral berry, wait 3 seconds, then drop an apple. That gives us about a second of wiggle room for us to be right or wrong on the hourglass, and also just in case the server is a little wonky from time to time, that little buffer there should help it. So let's make some sand. And essentially, we don't need that much sand. All we're going to do is over here, we're going to get 6 sand. And by the way, 1 sand equals 1 second in the timer. For other things, you can use like soul sand. Soul sand is 1 minute. So if you put in 64 soul sand into the hourglass, it would be a 64-minute timer. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to put 6 soul sand in here, and regular sand, not soul sand. And then after 3 seconds, so when this is about halfway done, we're then going to put 6 sand in here. So we'll do 6, then 1, 2, 3, and I've already messed it up. So we're going to wait instead for that to finish, and then 1, 2, 3, put that in there. So what we should see is the mineral berry is dropped, it's eaten, then the apple is dropped, it's eaten, then the mineral berry is dropped, it's eaten, and then the apple is dropped, and it's eaten. Nice. And you'll know it's working if you get the little eating animation, like you could see the kind of Gomulus chewing down on it. If it doesn't do that, it means it's eating them or you're dropping them too fast. But this does appear to be working. I think it might, by default, be producing a bit too much mana for the 1 Elven spreader. Although, actually, no, it looks like it's doing maybe just fine. Yeah, okay, cool. And we're going to do the exact same thing, of course, with the other setup. We're going to put 6 in over here. Unfortunately, the way that the sand kind of restacks itself is a little awkward. 1, 2, 3, 6 in here. And this side should work in exactly the same way. We should see the mineral berries drop, get eaten, then the apple drop, should get eaten. That one didn't look like it worked, but let's give it a second. I might have to rework that. And there we go. Okay, so a little tinkering around with the timer, and it is now working. Again, it might take a few attempts if you try this to actually get it going. You can see there when you hover over it, it does show as being 6 seconds. But yeah, this looks like it's working. It's dropping the mineral berries and the apples alternatively. And we should see, hopefully, the numbers here pretty much hover around where they are now, so around 212 and around 144, because we should be producing about the right amount of apples and berries. It is possible we produce too many or too few, because all of the calculations that are done here are all based on chances. Because again, if we look at the bonsai pots, it's like a 20% chance to get a mineral berry. So sometimes you're going to get more, sometimes you're going to get less. We could end up with, a ton of mineral berries. We could end up with not enough, but overall, it should even out to us getting about the same amount of mineral berries as we're using here. And so hopefully this is going to work. I have moved the orchid endium over from the other area here. This is currently set to redstone on. Part with ID 9 could not be found within the current network. ID 9. I might have to redo this. Let me clear that and then do this block here. Part ID 26. Yeah, because I think when I moved this, the ID of the block reader changed. You'll see it now has an ID of 26 in the top left there as opposed to an ID of 9. And I think that's probably going to come in true for this as well. Like we have this also doesn't have an ID. Variable 3. Which one is variable 3? Variable with ID 3 could not be found. Yeah, okay, so I am going to have to reset that up real quick, which is not going to be a problem. Let me quickly dump some of the things that I don't need on me into the old system here. And then if we grab our logic programmer, which apparently is down somewhere. Oh yeah, of course, it's over here, right in this far corner. Not really the best place to put it. I should probably move it over closer to the crafting terminal. But now that'll just take it right out over here so we can work with it hopefully a little bit more easily. So we have the block variable. This variable here is endstone. This one can remain the same because this one doesn't relate to any currently existing world items. This one here, like the final one, does need to be reset though. So over in here, we need to go to equals, not equal, and we have to say when the block does not equal endstone, that's when you output a redstone signal. And so again, if we put these in and we put you in there, that should then work. So it should place down endstone, which there is currently none of in here. I'll go and grab some real quick. So we'll set this to place block. So that should place down the endstone. We do have enough mana right now, so it turned it instantly into coal and then broke it. But if it's not coal, or if it's not endstone, if it is endstone, it's not going to break it. As soon as it turns into anything that's not endstone, it's going to break it and store it in here. Nice. So it's still not going to be like as fast as it can be. I think right now it's working because we have a bit of a buffer, but we are going to slowly but surely, or I should say very quickly, I think run through the little buffer that we have in this mana pool here. But ideally, it is going to be faster than what we were using before. And as I mentioned earlier, going forward, we could maybe add a munch dew or two, depending on how many leaves we get. But we could maybe put like munch dews here and then a couple more endo flames over here to start making use of all of those extra leaves and logs and sticks that we're producing to hopefully push this along even further. But I think that is probably where I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for today. Next time we'll come back, we will look at pulling out all of these resources. I think we'll do that using applied logistics. We'll just set up an import bus to pull all of those items into the system, and then we'll use an export bus to export the ores over to, let's say, a sag mill. We'll hopefully upgrade the sag mill to a regular sag mill instead of this one here so we can make it a bit faster. And then we'll also probably get a powered furnace so that all of our ores can be run through the sag mill, turned into double the number of dusts, and then be smelted in the power furnace and then dumped back into the applied logistics system, ready for us to use going forward on whatever we like. And I think we'll also look potentially in the next episode, if we have enough iron, at maybe getting a better source of power. I did mention a little bit in a previous stream the idea of potentially using the diesel generator from Immersive Engineering. I think if we can get enough steel, that isn't going to be too difficult for us to set up. It is going to require a bit of setup. You know, we have to get a refinery, we have to get a squeezer, we have to get a fermenter, we have to get a couple of garden cloches, but I think it should definitely be very doable. But for now, guys, as always, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video and you want to see more in the future, you can go ahead and hit that like button to let YouTube know that you think the video is decent. You can also subscribe if you want to get notified in the future whenever I post a new video. For now, though, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.